Great.
Hello, guys, and welcome to Get Into Crypto. This is the first video update in quite a while. If you have been following me on Twitter, you would have seen some of my calls and tweets to keep you informed of what I've personally been doing in these markets over the last few months. I am going to really make an effort to get into routinely posting videos on YouTube from now on a weekly basis. So I will do my best to keep you updated moving forward. But let's get straight into the charts and let's take a look at what has been happening, because obviously 2022, we were going into the bear market year of the 4-year cycle. I'm a big advocate of the 4-year cycle. Really, over the last couple of years, it's only reinforced the 4-year cycle to me personally. And I think we need to keep that in mind when we're making our investment decisions. And I would just remind you that I'm looking at this as a longer term investor. So if you're a day trader, if you're a short-term trader, there are probably better places to be getting your information. But I think for me personally, the biggest gains to be had in the crypto space are from playing this 4-year cycle, putting on positions with conviction, with size, without leverage, and accumulating at the right times and then distributing at the right times. So obviously we saw distribution towards the end of 2021. We had, for me, the mother of all bull traps in Bitcoin, and the market reversed and took a tumble. And we had a bit of really on the backdrop of positive news, and you can kind of call this the slope of hope. More people were talking about Bitcoin. We had legendary investors saying they were all in on Bitcoin, 50% of their net worth in Bitcoin. Michael Saylor banging the Bitcoin drum. Plan B coming out with much higher Bitcoin targets, and obviously that was the time that was the max euphoria, the max hype in the cycle. And since then, we've been marking down, and this was the only real time that we got a bit of a pop up, and then we continued our tumble. Obviously, we had the lunar collapse, and then I think the main one, the big sort of telltale sign for me was the FTX collapse, and when we didn't push significantly lower off that news. And I was also looking at a time target of around about November time. This really lined up nicely to me to kind of say, right, this is it. This for me is the low. And this is when I bought more Bitcoin over sort of November and December of 2022 than I had done probably at any time in my life, to be honest with you. So that for me was the time to accumulate hard. I did tell people when we went under 20,000 that Bitcoin under 20K is a good buy. And obviously those tweets were on my Twitter, Simon TCAP, if anybody wants to see those. But, and it's a shame really, because a lot of people were I was speaking with just didn't want to buy, just didn't want to invest during this period. And it was very difficult to convince people that actually it is a good time to pick up some more Bitcoin here, even as a DCA, because people were waiting for lower prices. A lot of very big, important influencers were still saying we're going to 10K, we're going sub 10K. And yeah, I'd heard it all before. I'd heard the same thing in 2018 when people were saying we were going to 2K, 1K, and we never got under 3. So yeah, it happened exactly how it played out at the end of the last bear market. And obviously this move and this reversal caught a lot of people off guard. People were still trying to short. People were keeping their money in stable coins, waiting for lower prices, and those lower prices never came. So where we're at now, we've obviously pushed up. I mean, this was your other chance. This solid reversal here, hammer candle, and then boom, obviously we pushed into the high 20s. And right now Bitcoin is consolidating. So what's next for Bitcoin? Where do I think Bitcoin's going to go from here? I quite like this consolidation above the 200-week moving average. It was obviously concerning to all of us when we lost this 200-week moving average. We'd never really lost it before in the past. We dipped slightly below it during the COVID crash, and the week later we recovered. So I wouldn't call that a break. So this was the first time we really broke it. But obviously we've seen this deviation, and now we've seen Bitcoin come back to rest above the 200-week moving average. I don't personally know if we will ever come significantly below this moving average again. I'd like to think not. But the fact we have already broken it does mean that it does lose some relevance. And if we do go below it again, then it shouldn't come as a big surprise. So we never quite know exactly what Bitcoin's going to do. And I think, look, it wouldn't be unorderly if we were to come down, say, for example, sort of around 25 or sort of 24K region, and then reverse from there. So I am still thinking we could come down slightly lower on this correction, or we might just turn around from here. Obviously, the big nemesis right now for Bitcoin is this 30K level. And you can kind of see this box of resistance I've got on here. We looked like we were breaking out, and then we got pushed back below it. So yes, we will have to see whether Bitcoin can mount another challenge at this level. The thing I do like is that on the lower term timeframes, we've started to see some of the moving averages starting to converge here. Some of the indicators are starting to reset. Price is starting to look stable at these levels. And, you know, to be honest, sideways price action in the history of Bitcoin tends to be fairly bullish, tends to be fairly bullish. So, yeah, we would typically see this type of sideways action in bull markets, followed by, you know, price getting marked up. So, yeah, I think if we're looking at where Bitcoin goes from here, I think the odds are still with the bulls once we're holding this 200 MA. If we can push up and break through this, call it sort of 31K resistance, then I think the initial target will be around about 33,000, where we've got this 100-week moving average coming in, which is also some of the lows from January of last year. And then from there, I think we can look up to probably shallow 40K. And my actual top target for later this year is around about sort of 48, call it sort of 48 to 50K. I think that would probably surprise a lot of people. A lot of people will probably not be expecting Bitcoin to get that high this year, but I definitely think that's on the cards. And look, you know, the narratives around crypto and Bitcoin are slowly starting to change. We've had some positive developments around regulation lately coming out of the US. We've seen China also coming out with some positive regulation around trading, around crypto activity in Hong Kong. We've also had sort of net global liquidity starting to increase, with China starting to stimulate more, the US obviously having to bail out some of these banks that have gone down or ran into problems. And you're in this situation now where, as the economy is starting to worsen and bad data is starting to come out, that obviously then puts the pressure on the Fed to sort of pivot back to QE. And obviously we are going into an election year. So, you know, whilst politicians are fighting for votes, they obviously don't want there to be a recession. So, you know, if Dems want to stay in, then they're going to have to do something to turn around the economy. So I think what I'm trying to say is we will see very soon the impact of these interest rate hikes in the economic data, and that should put the pressure on the Fed to stop hiking. And I do believe that the market is now starting to price in cuts later this year. So obviously this is good for assets. Obviously, cuts the interest rates, make risk assets more attractive. And I think what we can also do is we can just look briefly at the stock market to see how all of this correlates. We'll start with the dollar actually. So we'll see that the dollar has sort of come off its lows, and that's probably kept a little bit of pressure on Bitcoin, seeing the dollar tick up. But just because the dollar's rising doesn't mean Bitcoin can rise too at the same time. So I think sort of Bitcoin taking a breather after nearly 100% move off the lows of late last year, and also a dollar that's been rising over the last month has, probably given it a chance to sort of steady and consolidate. But it's good that obviously Bitcoin is still holding some key levels. And we've discussed before the correlation between stock market and Bitcoin, and we can see how the Nasdaq has actually gone on a very, very impressive rally, and it's actually reaching an area that I was viewing as being quite significant resistance. So I'm personally very interested to see what happens around this level. We're basically in the golden pocket from the all-time high to the lows of late last year. We've also come up to hit channel resistance as well. So this can be quite a precarious time for stocks. Can we consolidate here and push through? Of course we can, but I think probably what would be more expected is for us to maybe come down, put in a higher low, and then have another go at reaching the top of this channel, and maybe pushing through it on some, if for example, if it does come out that the Fed are looking to cut, for example, if that sort of language starts to come out, then potentially that could give stocks the momentum to push up to towards all-time highs. So I'm fairly bullish on stocks. I have been bullish on stocks since the end of last year, as I have been on crypto. Just going back to Bitcoin, what could that mean for Bitcoin? Obviously, if stock markets do pull back, we might see Bitcoin then start to pull back. And like I say, I'm looking for around about sort of 24K, maybe in line with the highs of August, as a place where bulls will be looking to bid it back up the price. And that was it really. I just wanted to really do a fairly quick update as to how I see the crypto market. I think for me in general, just again, stepping back, looking at the bigger picture, I think 4-year cycle, this is the year 2023, the first year of the bull market, that you really want to be buying those dips hard and accumulating heavy and putting capital to work. Obviously, this is not financial advice. This is purely for entertainment, and this is just purely what I'm doing, and the things I'm saying are purely based on my experience. But I think for myself, I'm definitely looking to buy and accumulate Bitcoin on dips. I think that is the smart money play right now. And really, it's just having the patience. It's just trying to remember whereabouts we are in this cycle. I mean, we would expect a high for Bitcoin to likely come in round about late 2025. We're currently mid 2023. So, potentially we've got another 2.5 years of bull market to go. We're not just going to fly up to 100K or back up to 69K within a couple of weeks. So it will be slow, it will be painful, there will be FUD, there will be people telling you get out when price inevitably drops 20% or 30%, which is what it always does, even during bull markets. So you really have to be in this for the long haul. You have to be committed. You have to have conviction. And look, if you can have those things along with a little bit of patience, then I think the next 2.5 years will serve you very, very well as a crypto and Bitcoin investor. So I'm going to wrap it up there. I will be back very soon with some more analysis. I want to take a look at altcoins as well. I'll probably share with you the altcoins that I'm buying right now, because I think there's some really good picks out there. I think there's a few altcoins that are fairly cheap compared to BTC right now, which are worth putting into a portfolio. So I will cover those in an update very, very shortly. And like I say, I want to make these regular updates, so I will endeavor to do weekly videos from now on. If you do like the content, please help out the channel. Please like, share, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.